I know everyone likes to clown on the Chameleon for being an absolutely pathetic villain. I do too. Her presence in the story is minimal compared to villains like Tai Lung, Lord Shen, or Kai in their respective movies. I can see the Chameleon working because she has this whole mob boss sorceress shapeshifter shtick, but it ultimately fails to capitalize on any one of them. But let's focus on one. The only reason she uses magic is because she's a failed kung fu apprentice. The Chameleon was turned away from every single kung fu master she ever encountered because she was too small. If she can't learn kung fu, then she'll use magic and just steal it from other people. I can see this being an interesting theme, no matter how ridiculous the whole she was too small for kung fu bit is. Thematically, everything works very well for her. Not every single kung fu master will be like Oogway. They're not going to take a chance on a panda who fell out of the sky. You're more likely to find a master of Kung Fu like Kung Fu Panda's one pre-character development Shifu. Shifu cared more for perfection than development. And while results are required for training, you don't get paid for building half a bridge or half a building in construction. An obsession with excellence can lead to a darker place. Yes, worse than pre-character development Shifu. Yes, I am talking about masters who are less interested in looking for potential and more interested in harvesting success stories to begin with. Why invest in a student that you need to actively train and struggle to train yourself? That's expensive in both time and energy. Instead, let's spend that time and energy looking for a prodigy. After all, a prodigy knows the general motions, they just need to be heavily refined and taught the more advanced techniques. It is a bit easier to revise an apprentice than to just build one up from the ground. And since you're the master of this prodigy, you can exploit the prodigy's talents to improve your own ego and image. That's not a recipe for a great kung fu master. That's a recipe for making another Tai Lung. I'm not saying that you should hand out chances to randos willy-nilly. I'm saying that if you as a master say the first step to mastering any skill, be it art, music, or acting, is to skip the beginner portion of it and be a flat-out master already, then perhaps it's a shoddy way of approaching things. Since Kung Fu Panda 4 is all about Po needing a successor, it stands to reason it would be interesting to see him this way. He's not going to go full Kung Fu Panda 1 Shifu, but maybe he wants someone that is basically heroic right off the bat. Maybe someone to desperately protect the Valley of Peace. That he ends up emulating Kung Fu Panda 1 Shifu, and it actually disturbs everyone around him. Thematically, the Chameleon would play a similar role to the apprentice, to Po in Kung Fu Panda 1. The Chameleon was rejected because she was too small and weak to have any master train her. The masters all would have grown vain and prideful, prioritizing appearance and perception rather than actively cultivating the spirit and the body. Po realizes he's done the exact same thing, and he rejects this attitude. Leading to this massive battle, instead of Chameleon pulling powers from the villains of old, have the Chameleon pull her power from the Kung Fu masters who rejected her. Obviously, she wouldn't get redeemed because she still runs a criminal empire and mistreats everyone around her and only seems to value people because they are pawns in her game, but it at least gives depth to her character. And using the very masters who rejected the Chameleon initially as the power source rather than past villains makes the movie more thematically cohesive. There's also the second option, which is the cheapo option, in that you're only moving around a few lines of dialogue and like one scene at most. Let's keep the Chameleon's whole motive about, oh, I was declared too small to learn Kung Fu, but have a master who is long deceased interject saying, you care absolutely nothing for Kung Fu, you just want the power and gratification without any of the work. That would at least add some depth to the whole arrogant Kung Fu parasite bit to her. By how much time I spent on that option, I think you know I don't like it as much, but it's probably the cheapest solution. Those are my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.